They brought it into me. I understand. I'm down with all that. We've done fine, and he probably did work. Yeah, we would. It doesn't fucking time. But anyway, stop. Later. I'll throw it.
So, of course, when I have issues where I'm in a place where I'm not able to call, that's not acceptable, right? But when she's in a place where she's not able to call, I'm expected to understand. And I do try, but does she make that effort for me? No. Matter of fact, that'll become a point of contention. When I'm stuck in a volatile environment and I am scared for a reason. When I'm scared for others, it's not for no reason. It's not just paranoia. So, of course, that message was at 3:24 p.m. And I let her know at 3:25 p.m. that I was in the Tillamook Library in a room for the next 2 hours. Right now, I have access to somebody's mobile hotspot. Obviously, there's issues with it staying connected. Obviously, that's not a decision, and obviously, I'm not being cruel to people over it. I am very frustrated and very afraid.
Is there a time when it would be better to call?
See, because the night before, when she wasn't able to keep her word, and her excuses were horrible, I mean, they're not valid. The timeline, the time, all shows that none of that is valid. None of her excuses apply. Now, I did answer her questions. I answered her questions about SSI and SSDI. I answered all of her questions to the best of my ability, but she couldn't answer with the most simple thing that a person who actually cares would do. And what's that? Set up an appointment and keep your appointment sooner rather than later. The longer you procrastinate, talk about yourself, talk about George, the longer you talk about those things, the less time you're spending listening. She typed that she wants to help more than once. She said that she wants to help more than once. Well, how about you stop saying you want to help? That's just one more thing you're interrupting me with. Now, when I am explaining to you, hey, you have asked me what you can do to help 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, a dozen times. And I'm literally having to stop what I'm telling you, which is my story. You want me to get to the point. The point is, I need you to hear my story without interruption. Now, when you type that you want to help a dozen times, that in and of itself, obviously annoying, but it's workable and manageable. But then when there's also a dozen stories about yourself, and a dozen stories about George, now here we've got 36 interruptions in what should have never been a conversation. When someone is being abused, you show that you don't understand social cues. Every time you make it about you. I mean, all this stuff that you guys want to tell me about conversations, yes, sure, fine. A conversation is one thing. A discussion as well. We can understand that. But what the victim is going through is not a discussion. It should not be an argument. It should not be a conversation. When you care about somebody and they're being victimized, that is the one time in your life you need to learn to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Don't tell them you don't care. When they tell you that they're being abused and you say you don't care, you are a horrible friend. You're a horrible family member. And you have no right to ask anything of that person, including for your own privacy. I was railroaded, not because I didn't try to get help, but because nobody cared. I'm not a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, fresh out of high school. You people could give two shits about me. Volatility of the situations that I'm stuck in over and over again, that sucks. There's a lot of people going through really screwed up things, and I get to hear a lot of stuff every day I don't want to hear. This situation here, for me, is volatile, yes. But it could be managed and cured by one friend or family member willing to listen, not to ask 10,000 questions and to say they want to help 10,000 times and to tell me 10,000 stories about themselves, to make 10,000 promises to keep their word, and then, of course, when it comes time to keep their word, they're sick 10,000 times. Their kids 10,000 times. And before you say, oh, you can't say 10,000 times, well, keep in mind that just like with I want to help, saying it once is not a big thing. Saying it half a dozen times in a 30-minute conversation is actually an issue. But it's not just that you're doing half a dozen times in that 30 minutes. In some of these videos, you can hear people literally saying the same thing 10 times in a row. Maybe rewording it differently a couple of times. It's frustrating. If men start acting like women, women don't like it. But they expect you to like it. I do literally mean that. These women expect you to like being treated in a way that they would never, ever want to be treated unless they find you attractive, and then women will literally let you beat them. One woman told me that her boyfriend raped her at least 100 times. Literally 100 times. And she stayed with him. And I said, why did you stay with him? She said, well, he was sober too. And he had an award-winning smile. award-winning smile. Gross. Well, you say that I'm a horrible person for pointing out that looks are more important than the truth to you people. And you say I'm infatuated with looks. No, you're infatuated with looks. That's the point. When she typed that she wanted to help, she types that she's literally crying in bed. Why? And I asked her that. She typed, because of you, your story. Now I'm worried about your safety. I mean, she's not being evil in this very beginning part. This is a few days ago. But when you go down to the part that we're at now, she types, now I'm worried about your safety. And she does one of the things that many of you do. She wants to say, put yourself first. That's like saying you need to move on, or you need to love yourself, or you need to just give it to Jesus. She typed, yeah, I just wish my friends cared over the last 7 years. And she typed, I care now. Well, I wanted to believe that was true. I got my computer started so that I could communicate. I showed her what my vehicle went to. Can I call? She typed, sure. I tried. It went to voicemail. Did your phone die? She typed, hi. It did when I was in the bath. So you have a windowless car? And the thing is, those messages, can I call? Was it 10:21? At 10:22, she typed, sure. At 10:25, I sent her a message, typed, I tried. It went to voicemail. This is literally, I had enough time to make a phone call that went to voicemail right after she typed sure. And then I messaged her that it went to voicemail. That's all I had time for. So then it turns into she's asking questions. So you have a windowless car? Of course I answered it. Only missing 3 windows. She typed sound cold. See, she's turning it into a conversation. She doesn't care to help me because she's not listening to my story. She's trying to lead it as a conversation. Well, no. You can't answer the simplest questions, and you don't have the deductive reasoning skills now at this point to, well, actually schedule it to make a call. And that's what happened here, is that I tried again. It's not my fault it's screwing up on her end, or that she's saying that I can, and then she's literally just not answering it. She typed, does tomorrow work? Do you sleep? And of course, she typed to me after I typed to her, of course, she's gonna call me. She doesn't set up a time though. And what happens when you have disabilities, mobility issues, and you have to spend an hour to set everything up before you can actually even accept the person's call, because you literally have to record it. That's right, I literally have to record my communication so I can prove I'm telling the truth. The problem is people aren't looking at that evidence. They're not coordinating with me to turn it in, whereas my predators are very well coordinated. That's also what's going to get them landed in prison if any of you get off your ass. It's well documented. I've got the evidence right next to me. More evidence on this computer. And I got USB device after USB device, full of evidence. This thing right here has got 5 of these little 128 megabyte. Some of them, I think one of them's a 64. Full of video evidence, screenshots, threats, harassment, intimidation, head games, coercion, assaults. I typed to her, not having a time really fucks me over. It also denotes the situation is not taken seriously. I have to waste literally years of my life waiting on people to keep their word to listen. No, I'm not safe. I'm in a volatile situation and my life and evidence are an immediate risk. So she typed, "Hi Sean, there's a stomach bug going around." And what do I point out? You're always sick. When it comes to keeping your word, probably 99% of the time, I'd say in my situation, 99% of the time, when a woman says that she's going to help, how I need. What she does instead is she gets sick, or she uses her kids as an excuse. You're either sick or injured, or your kids, or someone died. See, when a woman doesn't want to keep her word, she just pretends there's an emergency. Meanwhile, you're living through a real life emergency, and these women don't care. They will literally manufacture fake emergencies for months or even years just so they can keep you in the toolbox just in case you might be useful later. She ain't doing nothing without a backup plan, guaranteed. Us as men, we're so busy trying to do all of these things that are required of us because women's expectations. Meanwhile, the law doesn't apply to women, not the way it does to men. The reality of the situation is that men are the recipient of physical abuse on average 30 times before they ever defend themselves. And the moment they defend themselves, they go to jail. Women get a free ride that entire time because, as you can see in my situation, if a man comes forward, he is abused. He's told that he wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it. This is worse than being raped. And as a victim of rape, I can say that. Now here she replied at 10:37 a.m. yesterday. Let me read it. You'll notice there's, again, no time. Instead, it's, "Hi, Sean, there's a stomach bug going around. And I literally just got out of bed 5 minutes ago for the first time since I texted you before falling asleep." Now, I made plenty of excuses for her. She did type that. You know, I gave her leeway for that, didn't I? But this number one, that's because there's one of those excuses. You know the excuses. If the excuses don't work, step 2 is to play victim. She typed, "Hi Sean, there's a stomach bug going around where I'm at, and I literally just got out of bed about 5 minutes ago for the first time since I texted you before falling asleep." She's trying to infer illness. She typed, "That's how much pain I am in." Does it matter that I'm in pain? Is she even going to hear it? No, she's too busy typing a whole bunch of crap about poor her. She typed, "In my stomach and my throat. I have no idea why I received this hostile message from you." Victim shaming and victim blaming, because this right here is her playing victim. It wasn't a hostile message. When people do care that you're being harmed, they don't just say a bunch of pretty words over and over and over again. Avoid all of your questions, very reasonable questions like, "What time?" So I don't waste my whole day. I have a life too. No, I actually don't. Because I am dependent on someone who's willing to listen, to actually give a shit for most of these things. So she typed, "I have no idea why I received this hostile message from you. I told you I took some medicine to fall asleep. That's why I didn't arrange a time." Well, yeah, I was already aware of that. Repeating it the next day, does that give me a time? No, it doesn't. So I typed to her. Of course, let me show you this first. That way you know I'm telling the truth. She typed, I took some medicine to fall asleep. That's why I didn't arrange a time. And I replied, it wasn't meant as hostile. It was meant as an explanation of my current situation, something to be aware of.
The reason I say not having a time fucks me over isn't you in specific. That's why I didn't type you. This is an ongoing issue with people not giving me a time, and I tend to just literally have to waste the whole day waiting on them. So it's not you in specific, it's the situation. I also typed that it denotes the situation is not taken seriously, and that's another. I should have just sent you a screenshot of the pamphlet. Let's see. As far as the years that I've wasted on people keeping their word to listen, there are people who literally have taken years. You just found out about the situation, so obviously it didn't take you years because you weren't even aware. I typed, no, I'm not in a safe, or no, I'm not safe. I'm in a volatile situation and my life evidence for an immediate risk. Well, that's, I thought, pretty well written. But of course, it's in typing, so you never know how the other person's going to read it or interpret it or take it. And that's also one of the reasons that
How did she read it and interpret it and take it?
One-on-one is because they're more capable of understanding one-on-one. Whereas in typing, it's, well, a lot of people take stuff to be personal insults when they're really not. I have no idea why I didn't deliver that message until 5:45 a.m. I had noticed that you did see the comment about, do you have a specific time? I wasn't sure why you didn't reply after reading it, but I understand.
She read it right after I sent it.
Being tired, so it's not any personal hatred towards you or you're some evil, horrible
She said she didn't set up the time because she was tired and went to sleep. I can accept that. The rudeness there wasn't necessary. The hostility and accusations from her were not necessary. I get that she may have actually been sick. May have actually woken up with the flu bug. She didn't say that she did, she just inferred. She also went to the library while sick. She explained why she didn't arrange a time. She's also made zero effort at this point. She's basically just making me type. And in typing, they get to take things however they choose to. If you type something that is serious, they can go out of their way to throw a tantrum because you're being sarcastic. Stupid. I typed, this is a 2 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot pile of paper evidence in bags. And yeah. We covered this in the other videos. The paperwork that's in those bags. It's all important evidence. She typed, I looked at what you sent. I'm in the library, but since it's Saturday, it's closing soon. But that's why I didn't answer. She didn't answer because she was in the library. Okay. I typed, I'm in the library, in the Tillamook library, and it was just a minute later. Because I was in the Tillamook library. This is like the very end of the day kind of stuff. Like, if you're going to call, this is when you should. I've literally waited all day for you to be completely non-committal. You want to help? Commit to it. Don't commit to bullshitting me and then wasting time and being accusational, playing victim, and playing stupid. You've already shown yourself to be intelligent. Do not diminish yourself as a human being and degrade yourself as a human being by playing retarded. She's already proven she's not stupid. So she doesn't get away with playing stupid. And we should pay attention to that and hold her accountable for that, as well as hold her accountable for playing stupid. Because at this point, I'm still trying to be nice, obviously. I type, but I got a room for the next 2 hours. I only have an internet access on my computer when at the library.
Is there a time when it would be better to call?
There's a reason that I call. First of all, I'll post it whether it's in typing, texting, or a phone call. The phone call doesn't take me hours, days, weeks, months, or even years, depending on how much backlog there is and how important it is in the grand scheme of things. In the grand scheme of things, this lady's not that important. She could be. Honestly, I think it's probably more important to get her working together with Claire Jordan, because they can do a lot of damage. Anyway, she typed, well, I have my 2 kiddos, so it's a little different. What does that mean? Speak fucking English. Be direct. Be direct. What does that mean? Does that mean you're not going to? Does it mean you are going to? Does that mean I need to wait an hour? Does it mean I need to wait a half an hour? Does it mean you're not going to try? What does it mean? Now, you can hear in the conversations with her and I on this YouTube channel, she had her kiddos with her before too, didn't she? So what changes it? She typed, our library is closed on Sundays. How about yours? I typed, yes, it is closed on Sunday. And I also addressed the situation. I mean, at this point, she's being very non-committal. Very much wanting to make it about her. It's not that just saying over and over that she wants to help. Why are you interrupting my story to say that? Also, it's not the only type of interruption that you're doing over and over and over again. You remind me of a woman who doesn't have a best friend. You have no idea how many women I know who had a partner in crime type of best friend, and when that partner in crime type of best friend decides that she wants your boyfriend, yeah, now you're left without a best friend, aren't you? And then you reach out to somebody you know to be lonely and desperate, especially a male. And it never works out when you do that, does it? Oh, he's in a fucked up situation. I'll offer to help him and tell him I care, and maybe I can dump all my problems on him. Are these problems you're trying to get help with in court? Because that's the help that I need. Someone to advocate, someone to speak up, not someone to promise that they will and not come forward. I typed, yesterday you asked if tomorrow works. I said, yes, it is tomorrow. You see how the circumstances changing, but me not being informed eats up time? Like, at this point, this message is at 3:42 p.m. I type, my circumstances change too. That's why I try to update people. I understand it isn't easy to make time for me. It isn't easy for me to make the time either. But I have to make the time for every potential helper or offer of help. Obviously here, I'm not saying you're an evil, horrible monster who's going to Hades and I hate blah, 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 blah. Obviously, the library being closed is supposed to mean something. I don't know what to interpret or infer out of that. That can be taken, interpreted, and inferred many ways. That's why she makes it vague. Someone calls themselves Rosie typed, "It's been a long time." Anyway, these messages with the volatility of the environment that I'm currently in, and also having to deal with people like this, and I do send them messages. I typed, "And thank you for informing me when you were able." I typed, "Anyway, is there a time I can call? Leaving it open-ended shuts disabled victims down because we are dependent on others." See, I'm being direct, and I'm telling her facts. See, these are the reasons why the laws are the way that they are. The laws that are in place to protect us are in place to protect us specifically because of what I'm literally explaining to her. But we have to access that law and those laws. So, here, and this is something that could potentially have actually happened. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. She typed, "Hey, I left the library and my daughter just got injured." Well, I don't believe that, and that's because of the way that she responded. Now, I didn't see this, and I'll show you why. When I typed, "Anyway, is there a time I can call? Leaving it open-ended shuts disabled victims down because we are dependent on others." She typed, "Hey, I left the library and my daughter just got injured." Did her daughter really get injured? Maybe. She typed that at 4:03. She literally pressed the button like half a second before I sent it. Because if you look at mine, my reply is also at 4:03. I typed 5 p.m. is really late in the day to cancel plans. That's why I asked for a time last night and why I addressed it this morning when you took it as hostility. That is a form of victim blaming, whether you meant it that way or not. This is why I try to explain it not in typing. Without tonal resonance, it is difficult to tell the demeanor and therefore intention of others. We sent it at literally the same time. Rosie typed, "We used to talk in 2021. Are you better now?" No, I'm not. And I'm sure we didn't talk. You typing to me on my YouTube channel isn't talking. No, I'm not better now. I take a lot of abuse. Do you care that I get assaulted? Did you care before that I got assaulted? Because if you had cared, you'd have helped me turn it in. You'd have coordinated with me to turn it in, and you've never done so. And when I type without tonal resonance, it is difficult to tell the demeanor and therefore intention of others. She typed, "I am confused as to why a voice phone call is so important to you." Because it's not inhumane. It's not dehumanizing. When you force somebody to text message, what you're showing them and telling them is that you don't care to hear anything they have to say, and you're going to go out of your way to create a situation where it is impossible to properly communicate. You're going to take things that if I was to say them to me, or say them to you, in my tone of voice, you would try to understand. But you're going to interpret it as a personal insult towards you and sarcasm. You're going to read it with a bullying tone in your head. Like, that's literally what she had to do. She had to read it in her head as if this is hatred projected on her. No. She typed, "I'm confused as to why a phone call is so important to you when I'm responding to your texts and we didn't have plans." We did have plans. But, of course, she made it as inferences. She also typed, "I don't know why I am even engaging in this. Bye. So at that point, how many times did she play victim? How many times did she victim shame and victim blame? After starting off with all of that nice, pretty bullshit, this woman did not last 48 hours. I typed, "Did I take this wrong? I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I mean, if I took this wrong, you can tell me." It's a screenshot. It says, "Yes, I love it so much." I typed, "Can I call now or is it too late?" She typed, "I take an antihistamine to sleep at night because I can never sleep. I took 2X tonight, so I'm dosing on and off. Does tomorrow work?" What are we talking about? A phone call. The phone call. The one that she repeatedly yesterday had any and all excuses. Any and all. All right, Rosie types, "Please tell me how I can help. How can I help? I don't use social media. I am a teen. I do want to help." All right, first of all, being a teen, please get the hell off my channel. If you're not at least 18 years of age, get the hell off my channel. Matter of fact, if you can't honestly type to me right now that you are at least 18 years of age, I'm just going to block you from my channel. And that sucks because I'm sure a lot of the stuff that you typed before was very well thought out. Otherwise, I'd have blocked you a long time ago. Now, of course, everything after that, well, very one-sided. Like I said, she ghosted me repeatedly in a 48-hour period. How many times she ghosted me? Meanwhile, calling and listening to somebody is the second easiest form of communication. Body language is actually the easiest, but you have to know how to read body language. And that comes down to experience. Do I know how to read the body language of a woman who wants to have sex with me? No. I haven't had sex with enough women to be able to figure that out, obviously. That comes with the territory of not giving a shit. And there's all these people in my life that, they have good intentions, but then their motivations are sex, drugs, and alcohol. Some of them, having a roof over their head is important, but sex, drugs, and alcohol get in the way. Let's see, Rossi did not type that they're at least 18 years of age. Give them another 2 minutes, I suppose. I'm going to play this thing. It's called I Am Autism. Now, first, let's give this lady's number. You don't get to victimize people and walk away scot-free. That's the way it works in the real world, but you know what? I'm not just going to let it go. I'm going to tell the truth about the situation. One thing that is not important to any court in America. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Seven 965-2910. Rosie typed, "I'm not 18. Well, goodbye, Rosie. And that sucks to have to do. But the thing is, if children reach out to me, I get treated like a predator. When kids reach out to me and tell me they want to help, but they're just a kid, well, Kids shouldn't be the ones having access to this. It's unfortunate that I'm forced to post it up like this. It sucks. Badly. Just like it sucks that I'm dependent on alcoholics and drug addicts, pill poppers. So, yeah, when you show your sexism by playing victim, absolutely not. You don't get to keep nothing that you said private, nothing that you typed private, because you decided to play head games. You know what? Just because someone uses a nice tone doesn't mean they're a nice person. It doesn't mean that they have good intentions. When someone lies to you with a smile on their face, you want to believe them because they're smiling, right? Depends on what they say and what the situation is. If it's a situation where somebody's being abused and you're having to tell an officer and they're smiling at you, no, that doesn't feel good. When you have to just take it, because as much as women may promise the world, they don't come through with shit. I mean, this lady was talking about giving me her tax returns. How many women have said that before? But they never intend on following through on that, and they show that by playing victim as soon as possible after making such promises. Or claiming that they just couldn't be in communication. They had communication issues. Meanwhile, I'm not allowed to have communication issues, am I? If I have communication issues, she's going to turn it into, oh, poor her. It's my fault for not calling when she wanted me to. Then there's a lot of men that I know who have expectations from women just because they're women. And these men get angry and they throw their tantrums. So I'm not claiming that all women are predators or that only women are predators or that there are no selfish men out there. But most of us men spend our lives making decisions based on what's most important to us. And we're taught from birth that that would be women and children. We are taught as men that there's nothing more glorious for us to do with our lives than to lay them down in battle for women and children. Of course, nobody goes to war with the intention of dying, do they? Their goal is to make sure the other guy dies first, huh? Most of these people don't have evil intentions. Stephanie, I don't believe she had evil intentions, but she could have walked into it with that. Chances are better she walked in with curiosities and thought making extravagant promises would help loosen my lips a little bit. Well, no, it doesn't. Because I'm not after your goddamn money months or years from now. I'm after help stopping assaults, financial abuse, physical abuse and systemic abuse, sexual abuse. When you tell the victim to let it go, you're telling them you don't care if their predator hurts them. Oh, and that predator hurts them again and again and again and again and again. Every single time that predator does it, it is your fault for doing nothing. Yours. It's not the victim's fault. They did what they're supposed to. They came forward to a friend or family member. They came forward to a police officer. They came forward to a social worker. How many people wanted to tell me that they were social workers? Followed swiftly by saying, "Oh, I didn't say I was a social worker." When there's expectations of them as a social worker, and I call them on it. "Well, I didn't say I was a social worker. I said I work with social workers. I work closely with them." Really, because I got your text messages. That's one of the things about all these people requiring text messages instead of listening to me like I'm a human being. So now I got all these text messages. I've got the evidence of their words. Yeah, you fuck with me, you fuck with my family, I'm going to tell on you. Publicly. I'm going to tell on you publicly. Because I don't have access to the police. Because I am a homeless man. The only way to combat that is safety in numbers. That means not making the victim go by themselves. It means not arguing with the victim. It means listening to the victim's story first. And once you've heard their story, go ahead and ask questions. When you interrupt them repeatedly to say, "I don't know that person," I don't care if you know that person. That's not the reason I'm telling you. When your daughter gets raped her first year of college, what are the chances that you, as her parents, are going to know her rapist? Not very good. Now you get to see how these people, they react in a certain way as if they would actually care. Like you, possibly, as a parent would. But of course, you as a parent do have a vested interest. That is your child that someone did that to. How dare they? And you're going to do everything in your power to make sure the son of a bitch goes away forever. When somebody does those atrocious things to a disabled homeless man, you don't give two shits. You also don't care about any crime except for rape, because all other crimes are perpetrated at a higher rate by women than they are by men. Physical assaults against children are perpetrated at a higher rate. Sexual assaults in our schools. Women in schools, female teachers, rape your children at an 11-to-1 ratio over their male counterparts. A female teacher engaging in actual sexual activity serves an average of 8 months. A male in the same position, you're looking at 40 years to the rest of your life. Wow. It's fucking insane. Meanwhile, lawyers will tell you it's nearly impossible to convict a woman. Everybody feels sorry for women. We're taught from birth that we're supposed to feel sorry for women because they're women. Poor them, they didn't get what they wanted. Oh, neither did we. What we want is you to be happy, and you're never happy. No matter what, you're gonna fucking nag us to death about every goddamn thing. No matter what, nothing we do is ever fucking good enough. And then you're gonna tell us all of your problems are our fault for not providing enough. Bitch, get off your ass. I'm not pissed off at you for not touching my bajanglies, my man parts, my family jewels. I'm pissed off because you're playing fucking head games. When you go out of your way to play victim and then pull childish bullshit like this dumb cunt did, you are literally getting innocent people harmed or injured. Well, you use the cunt word for somebody as a female. Any woman who doesn't do what you want is a cunt automatically, right? And for a man who's drunk and on a power trip because he's drunk, or on drugs because he's on a power trip because he's on drugs, you're a cunt, right? Well, there are a lot of women who play the cunt game. They will push your buttons and lie to you and cheat on you and fuck around on you and lie to you some more. And just keep on doing it and gaslighting you and telling you it's your fault. And no matter how horrible a thing she does, she hits you in the face, she throws stuff at you, she acts like Harley Richmond, it's all fine and dandy. She thinks all of those behaviors are okay because she knows eventually if she fucks with you enough to get you to say the word cunt, oh, poor her, she's a victim. Fuck this goddamn country and everyone in it. You come to my channel for entertainment. That's not okay. Good to be rid of you. Thank you for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper too. And no victim left behind.